Hi and welcome to my first Pilates mat video. It'll be very similar to the sequence that I do in our mat classes. If you haven't done Pilates before, you should probably watch a video, get clearance from your doctor. If you have done my mat classes before, you'll know what the options are and when you should modify and or leave an exercise out if there's any pain or discomfort. Take it easy, have fun, and let's see what we can do. Of course, because most of you don't have magic circles in your home, but you probably have these stretchy bands or a belt or anything that's long and narrow that you can use for stretching, I advise you grabbing one of those things. Some of you sometimes use a folded towel under your head. Also, that's a good thing to have handy. So let's get down on the mat. We're not going to do much standing work because that involves some camera angles and I don't have a camera operator. As I know about some stuff about Pilates, but not much about technical IT stuff. So let's lay down, grab your band, your belt, whatever it is you're using, and let's place it over your right foot. Just start by point and flexing that foot, stretching your bottom leg out towards that direction, the direction your leg is in, trying to find that length, the stretch from that bottom leg that starts right under your ribs, pulling your shoulder blades down your back. Remember that your shoulder blades, when they pull down, they come around your ribs and button up like that vest. Your neck is long, and if your neck is strained, having it down on the mat, you're going to have that towel folded under your head. So after you flexed and pointed your foot a little bit, let's bend the knee, pull the knee in towards your head, towards your shoulders. Try to keep your knee there as you straighten your leg. You're going to get a really deep hamstring and glute stretch. Do that again. Bend the knee, pull it in towards your shoulder. Try and keep the knee where it is as you straighten your leg, get a deep stretch. Let's do that one more time. And straighten, pushing the heel up towards the ceiling. Continue to push the bottom leg along the mat. Take both straps, both ends of whatever it is you're holding, in the opposite hand. So the opposite hand of that leg. You're going to take the other arm out along the floor, along your mat to stabilize. You're pulling that foot towards the floor, trying for now to keep the hip down. Once you feel stable, go ahead and lift that hip right off the mat. Continue to stretch the bottom leg. Take that sit bone of the leg that you're stretching and reach it towards the other ankle. Usually we have a sandbag over our ankles. If you have hand weights at home, small barbells, or maybe you have those ankle weights that you can drape over your ankles, go ahead and use those. Use whatever you have at your disposal. So once you've lifted the hip off the mat, pull your foot towards the opposite shoulder, and then let's start to stabilize. Pull the ribs down, pull the hips down, pull that sit bone down, bring the leg past center, switch the bands, the handles to the straps to the other hand, bring your other arm out to the side, and bring that leg down towards the floor. Usually we use those small 10-inch balls, and if you have one of those around the house, you can use it and put it underneath your elbow to stabilize you so you don't roll right off the mat. But just go as far as you can. Try and keep the stabilized side of your body on the mat as you pull that leg towards the floor and towards its shoulder. Stretching both legs. Remember, this is your circus audition. You're looking for that split between the two legs. Pull the ribs down into the mat. Remember how the shoulder blades work. Wrap around your rib cage. Bring the leg up to center. And this is where we usually use that magic circle to pull yourself up into a mock teaser. We're going to try it here with whatever you've got in your hands. You might have to choke up a bit on this band. I'm kind of working through this as I'm filming this. So what will become very evident is that I don't know anything about what I'm doing here, but we'll muddle through it together. So pushing your foot into the band or the belt or whatever it is you're using, you are pulling your lower back, your rib cage, back behind you in the direction of the wall or the surface behind you. Stretch through that bottom leg, stretch through the top leg, find the opening in the front of your hips, that cummerbund, and then pull the ribs back, pull yourself up. Keep that the lower abdominals working and the arms parallel to your leg. Keep pushing into the band. Now this is where we go back, we retract, and we try not to move that top leg. Keep the bottom leg stretching. Round through that lower back. Get your pelvis underneath you. Get your hips underneath you. Pull the ribs back down to the mat. Pull the shoulder blades down. And don't move that top band, that top foot. It's much easier when you're using the elastic band. There's a lot more give to it. So you can get a lot more of your body down on the mat before you have to move that leg up to 90. Let's switch legs. Stretch out that bottom leg. Now this is my tighter hamstring, my problem side, so I might look a little bit more delicate on this side, but we all have a tough side. Let's point and flex that foot, remembering to stretch out the bottom leg, using that bottom foot as if you were standing on it. Remembering that usually we have the sandbag over that ankle, and if you've been lucky enough to find something around your house that you can use to put weight on it, that's great. Remember that this sit bone, this hip, is reaching towards that ankle to help you square your hips out. You're trying to find openness in the lower abdominals through the pelvis, get those ribs together and down. Pull the shoulder blades down. Transfer both sides of the, actually, you know, we're not going to do that yet. We're going to pull the knee in towards the chest, bending the knee, pulling it towards the chest. Keep it there. Try not to move it away from your chest as you straighten the leg up towards the ceiling. And do that again. Pull the knee into your chest. This is where you'll see that the tightness in my hamstring. As I straighten my leg, I'm pulling my knee away from my chest. I shouldn't be. I should be trying to keep it exactly where it is. And then we'll do that one more time. This is a really good deep stretch. Make sure that that sit bone still continues to reach towards the ankle. Your ribs are down, your shoulders are down. Now you can transfer both bands to the opposite hand, pulling across. Keep your back, your shoulder blades, your rib cage down on the mat, the pelvis down on the mat. Once you feel like you're stable, you can let that hip come off. Pull that foot towards the opposite shoulder, keeping your shoulder blades and your back broad, straightening and stretching through both legs. And then let's pull the rib cage back down, pull the rest of the pelvis back down, transfer the leg to the other side, the other hand, and then just take it a little bit. Make sure that you're stable through the other side, because this is where your body will want to roll off to that side. Try and keep it there. This is kind of that circus stretch that I always joke about. You're trying to stretch the legs apart. You're pulling this foot towards its shoulder, keeping the back down, the ribs down, pull the belly in, and then let's bring that leg back to center. Separate the straps, choke up on them, because you're going to need to play with the amount of tension that you're going to require here. You're stretching through both legs. Pull the rib cage down, pull the lower back down, pull the shoulder blades down your back, lift your head, lift your shoulders. Put enough tension in that band that you can push your foot into it, bringing it down to about a 45-degree angle, easing your upper back forward as you pull your lower back down towards the floor, the rib cage out behind you. Bring that leg to 45 degrees, leave it there, pull your body up so that if you ease off on the strap, your arms are parallel to your legs, which are in a 45-degree angle. We're going to take it backwards. This is that thing where you don't move the top foot, don't move that top leg, and this is where the stretchy band is a little bit more forgiving. Remember, you're stretching that bottom leg from your rib cage, so you're trying to create that one long line. As you lower yourself down, pull the shoulder blades down your back, the armpits towards your waist. The pelvis is heavy. You feel the bottom ribs, then the middle ribs, then the upper ribs, then the shoulder blades, and then your head, and then you move your leg. Right? Let's take that band off your foot and get you up to sitting. Actually, I lied. Let's lay down again and do another big stretch. So just take a band, whatever it is you're using. You can fold it in half. Hold it. Just put a little bit of tension between it, between your hands. You're pulling in opposite directions. Pull your shoulder blades down to the mat. Pull your rib cage down. Stretch your legs out long. Reach the arms up. Inhale. Exhale. Reach the arms back behind you. Inhale. Exhale. Pull those arms down towards your thighs. Inhale and exhale. So you're going to continue with this motion. And as you're moving, you'll know that when your arms go up overhead, your ribs want to flare out. I need you to work on keeping them connected, pressing them down, finding that stretch in the front of your legs from your rib cage down to your ankles, keeping your neck long. Inhale, exhale. And maybe just one more. We also sometimes do this with our knees bent after we've done the half roll up. We come up, we keep our heels together. Let's do the half roll down first and then come back to that. So with our knees bent, if you've got something, once again, something heavy that you can place on your ankles to stabilize your feet, go for it. Sometimes you can put your feet under a couch, whatever, you can play around with that. And if you can do it without, that's great as well. So heels are together, you're in that slight V, you've got about a fist width distance between your big toes. You can use this band, just helps you connect into your upper body, or you can just put your hands underneath the backs of your knees. Sitting up tall, lifting from that lower back right up through the top of your head. Shoulder blades come down and wrap around that vest, button up tight. Those heels are connected, and you just start to lean back a little bit. Find the back edge of your sit bones. Pull the abdominals in, pull the rib cage back. Don't sink, don't compress. Let's try and stretch everything out through the top of your shoulder blades, going towards the top corner of the wall behind you, keeping your feet together. Go to the point where your arms are pretty extended, but there's some connection there. You're pulling your elbows wide. You can still feel those armpits pulling towards your waist. Inhale. Exhale, pull your head forward. Remember, there's that beach ball there with the barbed wire on it. You're avoiding it. And then you sit up tall, up on the sit bones. Lean back, find your way off the edge of the sit bones. And then from there, start to open up the front of your abdominals, open up the front of those ribs, not compressing, stretching, but finding that curve in your back, pulling everything out through the space between your shoulder blades. Go to the point where your arms are fully extended like they were a moment ago. Maybe slide them down an inch. Squeeze the heels together. Pull those elbows out wide. Pull those armpits down. Pull everything down your back. Pull everything up the front. Let's pull your body forward, keeping those shoulders down. Head comes forward. Sit up tall. Let's do a couple more of those. Sit up tall, back edge of the sit bone, and you're always welcome to work at your own pace, skip one, do an extra one. You know what's coming. Most of you should know what's coming. Stretch out the front, hold it there, armpits down, shoulder blades down. Maybe you go a little bit lower. Now remember, you have to recover from there, so don't go too deep. Squeeze those heels together. Squeeze the heels together. Open up the front of the ribs. Stretch the spine. Bring yourself forward. We're going to go down to the tips of our shoulder blades on this last one and start our 100 there. And I don't have my counters with me. I'm going to do my best to only do 100. Sit up tall, find the back edge. Start to lift that lower back as you pull it away. Pulling the lower back. Try and find each bit of your spine and don't release the previous spot when you go to the next spot. So everything is going down. You're finding all of those connections. When you've got the tips of the shoulder blades there, start pumping the arms. Press the tailbone down, press into the abdominals. Remember, you're pulling those armpits towards your waist. Inhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Nice broad collarbones. If your feet are under something heavy, you have the option of pulling them forward. You also have the option of picking your feet up. You can find your working level. This is a little bit easier than this. This is going to be easier than legs extended. You know where you'll know right away what feels best for you. So find that and continue. I'm going to take it here. I'm going to keep my heels together, find that Pilates stance, and I'm going to soften my knees slightly wider like a frog and do 5 inhales that way. Then straighten my legs and do 5 exhales. And you're welcome to do that or just stay with whichever position is best for you. I forgot to count. I think we're close to 100. Inhale, last 5 count. Exhale, last 5 count. And pull those knees in towards your chest. Give yourself a good stretch. Let's keep that tailbone down, head down. And at any time during any of these exercises, if your neck hurts, put your head down. Let's take that band. Stretch out long on the floor again. If you do have something heavy for your ankles, put it on there now. Take that band, stretch up overhead. Keeping your heels together, drag your feet along the floor, allow your knees to fall open, not completely open. There's a controlled distance, so it's not just flopping over, you're still squeezing the heels together and squeezing the inner thighs, but you're leaving some space between your knees. As you pull the feet towards you, you'll feel your lower back make a nice solid connection, and then you know you're in the right spot. Inhale, reach back. Exhale, reach forward. Inhale, reach back. Exhale, reach forward. Do 1 or 2 more of these. You're welcome to keep your feet flexed or flat on the mat. Keep the heels together, engage those inner thighs even though the knees are apart. We're going to try for that roll up. And you can bring those arms up to shoulder height or just above your head. Head comes up. Start to reach forward. Now you can keep your feet there, or you can start to extend them when you get into this full upright position. Inhale. Exhale. Keep those heels together. Round through the back. Open up the front of those abdominals, front of your hips as you roll down. Inhale, reach back. Exhale, reach up. And reach forward. So my legs were straight on that one. However, you can have your legs in whichever position you feel the greatest connection between your abdominals and your lower back. This is where your lower back needs to be the most protected. This is not necessarily an easy movement to get into if you haven't been doing a lot of Pilates. So just skip it if you're not feeling it today. And let's go all the way down. Bend your knees. We're going to go into single leg circles. Placing your arms flat on the mat, press them down, press through the shoulder blades, press the hips down, extend the right leg, and let's have right leg, left knee in on the same plane. Bring the right leg out a couple of inches and bring it down towards the mat, towards the left ankle, up and around. These are your single leg circles. They're more like ovals. And you're welcome to make those circles a little bit bigger, knowing full well that you need to keep your hips and your abdominals still. When you've done 5 in one direction, let's do 5 in the other. And that's 4, and that's 5. And then I would invite you to pull that leg in, get a stretch, make sure you're keeping your tailbone down, stretch out the other leg in line with the knee, arms and shoulders, take that leg out just a couple of inches, make sure those ribs are connected, down, around, and up, down, around, and up. And I often will say in my classes, lift your head, have a look at your abdominals and your hips. That knee shouldn't be moving, your hips shouldn't be moving, and reverse. Three, and 2, and last 1. And pull the knee into your chest, back of your leg. Let's not use the kneecap as a place to pull on. Use that leg to cantilever yourself up. Grab your ankles for rolling like a ball. Now, most of you won't have a cushy mat at home. You'll have one of those probably thinner yoga mats. So put a towel or something underneath your back if you feel like your mat's a little bit too flat. That might bruise your back or feel a little bit uncomfortable. Let's grab those ankles. Pull your heels towards you. Pull your armpits down. Pull your elbows wide. Pull your chest towards your feet or towards your knees. And you want to think about pulling upward, pulling all of those ribs out through the shoulder blades. Pick up your heels, pick up your toes, and just balance there for a moment. See if you can pull your ribs back a little bit more. See if you can keep your collarbones over your hip bones We're going to try and roll back. Inhale, roll back. Exhale, roll up. Push your legs into your hands and pull with your hands. The other placement option is hands behind the knees. Still pulling those shoulder blades down, pulling those elbows wide, trying to get length through the spine. Inhale, reach back. Exhale, up. Inhale, let's go back. Exhale, go back. And I know a lot of you like to throw your feet around and use those as some momentum to get you going. And let's just go with it. We do know that the closer you keep your feet to your bottom, the harder it is. So take one more and balance at the top. Both hands go to the right leg, specifically right hand on the ankle, left hand on just below the knee. Stretch the left leg out. Let's pull those shoulders down, elbows wide. Pull the shoulder blades down your back. Find your control as you lower yourself down. Pull that knee in. Resist with your leg into your hand. Pull, pull, and switch. Pull, pull, switch. Pull, pull, switch. Keep switching your hand placement. So the outside hand goes to your ankle. Your ribs stay down. Your abdominals stay down. You're trying to keep the front of the hips. The shoulder blades are pulling down. You're feeling that vest buttoning up. Let's do one more on each side. Great. Pull both heels together. Give your head a rest. Turn your neck from side to side. Let's place those shoulders. So heels are together. Your knees might be slightly apart. That's fine. Let's get the head up. Pull those shoulders if your head is coming up, that is. Pull those elbows out wide and shoulder blades down. Armpits pulling towards your waist. Rib cage pressing down. All of that pelvis pressing down. Heels together. Let's let go of those ankles. Arms go straight up to the ceiling. Inhale. Exhale. Circle those arms around. Pull as you exhale 1, exhale 2, exhale 3. Inhale. Arms go up. Legs can go out a little bit. Exhale those arms around. Continue exhaling. 1, 2, 3. Inhale. Legs can go a little bit further. Legs can go as far as you like. And you wonder, how far can my legs go? Well, it depends on how well you can control that connection between your lower back and your abdominals. If you feel any strain, then you've gone too far. Inhale. Exhale. Start with the arms. Continue exhaling as you pull the knees in. Exhale 1, 2, 3, and inhale. Exhale. Keep those heels together. This is when I say I'll come around the class and try and pull your heels apart. You're not going to let me. One more time. Last time. Inhale. Exhale. 1, 2, 3. Give your head a rest. Turn it side to side. Legs up to the ceiling. Walk your hands up to whatever part of your leg, your right leg, allows you to keep that leg straight. The left leg goes away on an angle, and it doesn't just drop, it reaches. Once again, you're trying to find that stretch from underneath your rib cage out through that leg. Grabbing the right leg, pull the armpits towards the waist, pull the ribs down. Inhale, pull, pull. Exhale, pull, pull. Inhale, and exhale. If your neck is sore, put your head down. You're stretching through those legs. You're reaching for the ceiling. You're reaching for the wall. Reaching for the ceiling. Reaching for the wall. And you're grabbing whatever part of your ankle, your leg, your calf works for you. Let's do one more set. And rest. Bend your knees. Give them a stretch. Roll around on your back. Overlap your hands. Place them under the base of your skull. And you can put your feet down here because I like to give you an opportunity to find that stretch in your chest. Pull those elbows as best as you can down into the floor, into the mat. While you do that, keep the ribs down. That might be uncomfortable for you, and it might be difficult for you to keep the elbows down and the ribs down. So this is where I like to say, pick up those elbows, get them into your peripheral vision, and then you get a better chance of connecting those ribs down to the mat, keeping the abdominals engaged. So let's pick up those feet again. This is where we usually use the 10-inch ball between your knees, and if you've got one, you can put it there between your thighs or nothing at all. Squeeze the heels together, squeeze the legs together, push the ribs down, curl the head up, ribs are down a lot. You're going to squeeze those heels together, and we're just going to dip the toes into the water. Not all the way down, just a little bit, and then pull them back up. You'll notice that I'm not straightening my legs. I'm actually taking the thighs that go from a 90-degree angle, taking them out on a bigger angle, and then pulling them back in. You can take this to a straight leg or keep a slight bend. It's up to you. You know where you're working level again. And what is your working level and how far should you go with those legs? Once again, depends on how well you can keep that back and those abdominals working. And if you feel like your back you're bracing too much, then you need to just stop there. Rest your head, rest your feet. We're going to go into crisscross. So once again, pulling those elbows up into your peripheral vision, press the ribs down, press through that lower back and pelvis, pick up your feet, pick up your head and shoulders. Your knees are now shoulder hip width apart. I'm going to turn towards you. It doesn't matter which way you're going as long as you're going to keep it even. Pull your knee towards the opposite elbow as you stretch the other leg away. Hold. 1, 2, 3. Pull everything in. Keep the center solid. Try and keep your shoulder blades off the mat as you switch. Hold. 1, 2, 3. This time around, see if you can reach your bottom elbow a little bit further. Look back there. Stretch the bottom leg out from your ribs and center. And switch. And center. Last set. Lift those shoulders a little higher in the center. And switch. Great. Hands on the back of your knees. Pull yourself up to sitting. We usually do this spine stretch at the wall, with your feet against a wall and sitting on a yoga block. You can sit on a cushion. You can sit on, if you've got a yoga block, many of you do, grab that now. And that's only necessary if you notice that sitting up means that your back is rounded, that you're not able to sit up easily, that you feel your hip flexors really firing or your quads are really kicking in. Just go ahead and grab something to elevate your hips a little bit. It'll just make the whole stretch a lot more accessible. So when you're ready, arms come out in front. I call these Frankenstein arms. Pull those shoulder blades down your back, armpits towards your waist, button up the ribs, pull the belly in, give your bottom a little squeeze, push through your heels if you can, or bend your knees, particularly if you don't have anything to sit on and you can't straighten those legs. Take a big inhale, drop your head. Start to exhale, reach forward. Remember that nasty beach ball that I have that's covered in barbed wire and glass? Yeah, there it is. Let's get your fingers to the same surface that your feet are on, or in line with your feet. Drop your head, drop your shoulders. Your arms should be roughly in line with your ears. Pull those ribs up and back. Sit those sit bones down a little bit heavier and pull yourself upright. Inhale. I'm going to do a version with my knees slightly bent so you can see that. Inhale. Exhale. Drop your head. Reach forward. You're reaching up and over that beach ball. You're trying to keep your collarbones over your hip bones even though you're reaching forward. Inhale. Exhale. Sit up nice and tall and straight. Let's do a couple more of those. Inhale, sitting up tall, stretching that rib cage up, armpits down, shoulder blades down, and reach, reach, reach. Pulling those ribs back. Sit up tall. Remember, your head is the last thing to come up. Last one. Inhale. Exhale. Let those Frankenstein arms reach forward. You can go ahead, if you can, grab your toes. Pull your ribs back. Try and get your collarbone over your hips. Pull those armpits down. Hang out there for just a second. Make sure those sit bones are heavy. Inhale. Exhale. Bring those arms back up to shoulder height and stack your spine up to its tallest position. Nice. We're going to do the shoulder stretch, and I'm just going to switch the camera around. See you in a second. Neck roll. So usually we have the magic circle out in front and we get a really good shoulder stretch. We're going to do this without one. There isn't really a great substitution. If you have one of those small 10-inch balls, you can use that. We even use that sometimes in class when a magic circle is too much of a stretch for your shoulders. So let's just, I'm just going to do it without anything in case you don't have anything. Forehead is resting on the mat. Your hands pull down underneath your armpits into sort of a really useless position. Let's get those elbows, pull them down so the backs of your arms are more parallel with the mat. The legs are very important. You're pressing down to the tops of your feet. And sometimes some of you get crampy feet, so just roll that towel that you've got handy underneath your ankles. Stretch the legs long, so you're resting on the pubic bone and the pelvis. You probably can't hear me very well when I'm talking into the mat. So you're pressing into that pubic bone, the pelvis. You're trying to keep that back, lower back nice and long. Legs are stretched out long. Hands are on the mat. Pull those elbows down. Pull the shoulder blades down your back. Lengthen the neck. I'm going to keep my head turned towards you so the microphone picks up my voice a little bit better, but I want you to look down. Keep pulling those elbows down, shoulder blades down. Stretch your chest forward. Remember, you're trying to stretch out of your t-shirt. Lift your chest forward, stretch those legs long, and then lower yourself back down. Do that a couple more times. Pressing into your hands, pulling those shoulders down, pulling the shoulder blades down, opening the chest, and then stretch forward out of your t-shirt as you lower your body back down. Squeeze those elbows in close. Last time, come up and stay up. Press into all of those fingers. Open up the chest, stretch forward. Let's take the head over to one side. Circle around, over to the other side, and forward reverse. And reverse. Keep squeezing those elbows down. Keep lengthening your neck. Remember, your shoulders shouldn't be moving as you're doing this. Finish up whichever side you're on. Make yourself even. Push yourself back into a counter stretch, so a child's pose, or angry cat. That's happy cat, angry cat, whatever makes your back feel good right now. And then back down onto the mat, onto your elbows, into that Sphinx position. Legs are out long. Okay, so here we are. More weight on your fists, less weight on your elbows. Doesn't mean your elbows can't be down, but more weight is on your fists. You can also cup one hand around the other fist, just the same connection. Pull those shoulder blades down, open up those collarbones. You're trying to stretch forward out of your shirt. Legs are out long, lots of weight on your feet, pubic bone, pelvic bones, pulling your belly in, pulling the ribs together. We're going to go ahead and kick 1, 2. Stretch that leg long, stretch it, and then lift, kick, kick, and stretch, kick, kick, and stretch, kick, kick, and stretch. When you're kicking, you want to avoid the shoulders sagging, keep going, and you want to avoid those hips lifting off as you're kicking. So if you can just kick a little bit, or you just want to try stretching the leg before you kick, that's a good thing to do. Your knees should naturally be floating, not artificially pulling up. And then make yourself even. Come back, take that child's pose, tucking your tail under, pushing into your hands, pulling your abdominals back. Rest is over, back out onto your front. Laying down, double leg kick. Hands come together behind your back. We usually hang on to a magic circle. And in the absence of that, you can use your band here. Just gives you some tactile feedback. Turn your face so one cheek is down on the mat. If you're using the band, you're pulling your hands up as close to your shoulder blades and as close together as you can get them. If you're not using a band, you're just crossing those hands over top of one another, grabbing a thumb or grabbing some fingers. Try and get your elbows to pull towards the mat so you're getting that stretch between the shoulder blades. Stretch the legs out. You're pressing into the tops of your feet and your pubic bone. Your knees should naturally be floating. You're going to stretch the legs out and kick 1, 2, 3. Stretch the legs out and back down onto the mat. Straighten the arms, lift them over your bottom. If you're using a band, pull on it. If you've got your hands together, pull with your hands, soften the elbows, extend your arms and open up that chest. Change your cheeks to the other side, bend your elbows and kick. 1, 2, 3. Straighten the legs out, lift the chest, stretch the arms, open. 1, 2, 3, and switch. Kick. 1, 2, 3. Stretch those legs as you put them down. Stretch those arms. Open those shoulder blades. Open the collarbones. Pull the shoulder blades together. Lift those arms. Soften the elbows. And switch. Kick. 1, 2, 3. Stretch out those legs. Feet go down. Stretch the arms. Roll the shoulder blades back. 1, 2, 3. Make yourself even. Hands on the mat. Push yourself back up. Take a child's pose. And I like an active child's pose, so hands are on the mat, close to your knees. Tuck the tail under, sitting back, almost sitting on your heels. Push into your hands, pull your abdominals up, pull that rib cage, the lower part of your rib cage up towards the ceiling. Drop your head, continue to push into your hands. So your abdominals are actively stretching that lower back, getting those hips underneath you. And sit up. So let's finish up with the side leg series. So laying on your side, let's have the bottom arm extended along the mat. Head is resting on your arm, or if you've got that towel, you're going to fold it up and put it there, right on your bicep. Bringing your legs forward on a slight angle, making sure that the top of your body from shoulder to hip lines up with the back edge of your mat. Legs are on top of one another. Take that top hand on your hip and push that hip away. When that happens, your bottom waist, you can't see here, but your bottom waist should lift slightly off the mat, creating that little mouse hole. Pull your abdominals in, pull your ribs in. Let's take that top hand. After you feel like your hip is really well stabilized, pull the shoulder back and put that hand down in front of your ribs. That's your seatbelt. You're going to stretch that top leg and lift it to hip height. Kick forward. 1, 2, and kick back in line with your spine. Pull the ribs in, pull the shoulders down, and kick. You want a certain amount of freedom of movement with the leg, but what you don't want is for this hip to be moving around, the rib cage to be moving, and to be sagging onto your little mouse house. You want to keep that all stabilized. Shoulder down, shoulder blade pulling in. And let's do one more. Reaching forward, kick, kick, and reach back, stretch long. Now put the heel inside the arch of the bottom foot. Not sure if you can see that. And make sure that the heel hooks right over that arch. Pull the abdominals in, make sure that the hips are stacked, the ribs are stacked, the shoulders pulled down. We're going to reach that leg long and then pull down. Reach that leg long, pull down. Keep reaching into the corner, whatever surface is furthest away from you on that angle, and imagine lifting something off the wall there with that leg. And when you're lifting the leg, you're not allowing that rib cage to compress down. And last one. And then let's bring the heels together. Find that turnout that you've hopefully had throughout, the ribs together, shoulder blades together. We're going to do 3 small circles, striking your heels together, and do them in halves. Half up, half down, half up, half down. The reason for the halves is so that you've got that nice control reverse. 1, 2, 3, and roll over onto your stomach. Hands under your forehead. Stretch those legs out like you're at the beach. Legs should be naturally floating. Turn those thighs outward. And let's kick forward. 1, 2, and kick back. And kick forward. And back. In line with your spine. Pull the rib cage together. Try and keep that waist off the mat. Shoulder down. And last one. Now let's place that heel in the arch of the bottom foot, not just placing it, but actually reaching long. So you really feel that waist lifting. Try and find that stretch as you lift the leg. Try not to compress, but stretch and pull down and reach. And remember, you're aiming for something across the room on that same angle as your leg that you can imagine lifting with your leg, and then imagining that magic circle and squeezing those inner thighs together and lift and squeeze. So the heel falls into the arch each time. And let's make this your last one. And then line up those heels and let's make those 3 circles half at a time. Half up and down and up and down and 3 and reverse. And last one. Good. And let's come up to sitting. Let's finish up with not all of your favorites, but the seal, which is a nice way to end. And then we'll try and come up to a state of day. Feet together, hands together. Hands go through the ankles and around. So some of you find that very uncomfortable. You're just going to place those hands underneath your knees, the other ankles. Keep your heels together. If your hands are wrapped around your ankles, you're going to pull those shoulders down, pull the shoulder blades down your back, pull the ribs back, pull your abdominals in. Lift your heels, drag your feet towards you, and imagine keeping your collarbones over your hip bones while you pull the ribs back. Pick up your feet. I want you to also imagine that there's a magic circle between your legs, which you are resisting with your elbows. We're going to open and close the legs, resisting that circle. Close, that's your seal. Pull, inhale, go back. Exhale, come up. If you can balance on your shoulders, keep going. If you can balance on your shoulders long enough to do the 3 beats there at the back, go for it. 1, 2, 3 here, rolling onto your back. 1, 2, 3. Collarbones over those hip bones, resisting your legs. Let's do a couple more. And maybe on this last one, you can let go of those ankles and come up to sitting or standing. I'm going to remain sitting and say goodbye for now. I'd love to hear your feedback, your comments, your questions, and anything else you'd like to do. I'll keep doing these. I'm sure that they can't get any worse than this. It's been great working out with you. I'd love to hear from you and hope you're all staying safe and healthy, and wash your hands.